Alright guys, a new day. I just got off work. Didn't really do a whole lot yesterday other than I was messing with my distributor. So I was talking to Martin, the guy I bought my ECU off. He's a really knowledgeable guy, and I was just asking him some questions. He told me to look at my distributor, and it was set really under advanced, so you can see where it was before. So I advanced a little bit. He told me to set it in the middle, and I actually noticed a little bit of a difference. So if you have a 240, maybe check that. It should be in the middle. So here's the fuel pump, or the wiring for it. These three smaller wires are for the fuel level gauge. You don't have to worry about those two, or those three. But these two are for the fuel pump. The power is the black and yellow, and the black is the ground. So when you upgrade your fuel pump, these aren't able to handle the load. They're just too small, and they're too long, so they can't handle the load of the new fuel pump. Basically, they'll overheat. They'll starve your fuel pump for a voltage. It won't be able to run as well as it should be. And say you're boosting, this thing's trying to work really hard, it's not getting enough voltage, you'll lean out, and you can see how that could end badly. Or you'll just starve your fuel pump and it'll die prematurely. So you got to run a line directly from the battery. But if you ran a line directly from the battery without a relay, it would just be always running. So that's where the relay comes in. Here's my crappy drawing of the same thing that's on the back of this relay. Actually, I'll show you what you need first. You need to get a relay. This one's 30 amp, you need a 30 amp relay. Fuse holder. I got some 12 gauge wire, and a switch if you want to be able to shut it on and off. So basically how a relay works is it's a device, this is the relay, that's used to use one voltage to control another voltage. So it's basically a switch. Let's say I need another different colored marker. Okay, whatever. Hopefully it doesn't get confusing. Let's say we put power to pin 30, which are going to be, this is your common, so we put power there. Power could flow through here, up here, and to pin 87A, right? But it couldn't flow to 87, there's a break right here. If you flick the switch, then it would be able to float to pin 87. So we're going to have the fuel pump right here. There's my fuel pump. So now how do we get this to close so power can flow to the fuel pump? Well, you take the black and yellow wire that's currently powering the fuel pump and you put it to 86, and then this side just goes to ground. So when this gets energized, the coil gets energized, it pulls this contact in, closes this contact, and now power can flow through here. We're not using this, so you actually don't have to worry about that. But now power can flow from the battery through the relay and directly to the fuel pump, while using the old wire just to control this opening and closing. Because if we just ran a line directly to the battery, it'd always be running, or directly from the battery to the fuel pump, it'd always be running. Using the relay, it can switch it on and off. Got the battery disconnected, so black and yellow is going to go to pin 86, and 85 is going to go to ground, and then we're just going to ground the fuel pump at the same place, somewhere around here. I'll make a ground. And to know which wire is which, you gotta look at the numbers on these pins and then see where it plugs in and see which wire it is. We don't need 87A, that's a normally closed contact, which is the red wire, so I can just cut that off. I was gonna wire a switch in, but I don't think I'm going to anymore, mainly because I don't want to run a wire all the way up there. And if I put it here, it'd be kind of pointless, because then I could just pull out the relay, which does the same thing. But if you're gonna put a switch in, put it on the coil side, so put it right here on the black and yellow, and then go from the switch to the coil, pin 86. You could put it on the main feed, but why would you do that? Because then you have one more spot for resistance going from the battery to the fuel pump, so just put it on the relay side, or the coil side, sorry. Got the coil wired in, ground to ground, and power to power for the coil, 85 and 86, and then the thicker wires for the battery. Alright, I'm finished here. Took about an hour. So just to recap, got the power that used to be there coming to the coil, and then the other side of the coil, the ground, going to the ground. And then we got pin 30 going to the battery through a fuse, pretty close to the battery. And then through the other side of the contact, 87 to the fuel pump. And then ground the fuel pump to chassis. So I'm just gonna mount this here and clean it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Also, if you're gonna do this, don't mount your ground here. There's nothing behind here, but it's hard to get your hand in there for the nuts. Well, that didn't work. I was all confused on why it wouldn't start. I went to start it, didn't start, so I double checked my wiring. It was fine, so I moved my ground. What? I'm talking to the camera. So I moved my ground to the chassis. That still didn't work. So I was all confused, and I look at my freaking relay, and I got a 24 volt relay. Stupid, I didn't even look at it. So I gotta get a 12 volt relay. It won't trigger it with 12 volts. So gotta swap this out. Unnecessary $10 later. All right. Volts to the fuel pump. There it is, all finished. Very nice. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Make sure to leave a like if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be turboing this bad boy. Starting this tomorrow, so it's happening.